the sports media's infatuation with a Dallas Cowboys team that hasn't done shit for 30 years.
America's team, Dan.
But how long do they get to be that when they haven't done shit for 30 years?
Yeah, forever.
For as long as Jerry Jones is inviting Jerry Lee Lewis to play at his birthday party?
Ew.
A couple of Jerry's cutting it up.
Jerry Jones has told us since the beginning does not care about whether or not people object to the circus. He knows very much that it's entertainment, and it hasn't mattered that the Dallas Cowboys haven't been any good for 30 years. It is still a source of ratings magic somehow, everyone overcovering the Dallas Cowboys, who just got done having the perfect backup experience to end your quarterback controversies, win the first 4 games, then throw a bunch of interceptions right before the starter gets healthy. It's Cooper. If Cooper Rush can do that, he can make Chase Daniels money for the rest of his life. Just win 4 games and weighs 16 points, 19 points, and then right before Dak is healthy, just throw a bunch of picks.
Did you notice how quickly they announced that Dak will be back this week and against the Lions too? What a soft landing spot for Dak Prescott.
Worst defense in the league by far.
But you guys are never going to get tired of the overcoverage of a team that's pretty mediocre, that the star on the helmet is going to be redundant to you, even though they don't have actually that many stars anymore.
They have the veneer of competitiveness, right? I mean, when's the last time Jimmy Johnson was like 1-15, right? Way back when. When was the last time the Cowboys were really, really bad? I can't remember. When's the last time they had?
When was the last time they were really, really good? Can you remember that?
Des Bryant, that one year with Des where they lost to the Packers, controversial call, I guess. Maybe that was the last time they were really good.
I kind of prefer the coverage to see them fail, right? Like, it's kind of funny to see them see the Cowboys get hyped up, and then everyone starts buying in on the Cowboys, and then when they lose, like, it's kind of hilarious.
I got an answer for you, Greg. 2015, they were 4-12.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Romo
but that's
got hurt that
certainly
year,
not the norm, though, with them.
But
they haven't had a lot of dips.
But how much currency do you buy yourself with championships 30 years ago? Are we extending that to the Steelers right now? Like, we certainly don't cover the Raiders and the Steelers the way that we did the other teams of this time that were becoming a popular team in America because television and the NFL were exploding.
But the Steelers have won 2 since. So listen, you're asking a fair question about the Cowboys. Like, the coverage is not proportional to the amount of winning they've done.
My point is the Steelers don't get the coverage the Cowboys do, and Tomlin's never had a losing season, and Tomlin's won Super Bowls.
Right.
And we still obsessed with this team over here that's won. I'm going to guess 2, 3 playoff games in the last 25 years.
Maybe. I mean, we do the same thing with Notre Dame at college, don't we? I mean, they haven't been relevant or great.
But at least they've got their own marketing arm. They've got their own network. They're an independent. They're a power that lives outside of the sphere of everything. This team exists with everyone else and isn't as good as a great many of the teams in the league and hasn't been. I mean, you're not going to find a lot of teams, Stugotz, that have done less playoff winning than the Cowboys have over 25 years.
No, you're right.
The Knicks.
I'm saying football teams.
Okay.
The Lions.
But it's no, the Cowboys, whatever reason that branding exists, and by the way, they were America's team before the advent of what's Troy Aikman and those guys. But Ethan Strauss has
going back to Staubach, they were America's team.
Yeah, they were America's team
yes.
going back then.
Right.
Ethan Strauss has this weird theory that, like, if you are a great team during a time of economic growth in this country, people remember you a lot more fondly. Like, because people remember everything was better, and that's why. And so being great in the 90s, like in 95, winning a Super Bowl, has more currency than winning a Super Bowl like during a recession.
Cowboys have 4 wins in the playoffs since 1996.
4 playoff victories, more than I thought they had.
A lot of that's recent because they went a long time when it was like they hadn't won a playoff game.
From 96 to 2009 was their stint between playoff wins.
There are certain teams we like to talk about for whatever reason. The brand has been built up. Notre Dame's one of them. The Cowboys, another. The Yankees.
Lakers.
Lakers.
Yes. All the national teams. We expect them to be good just because they're national teams.
Of course.
And they've been good
You
forever.
guys do realize, though, that the other thing about this, because Jerry Jones is an owner who doesn't mind the circus, does his own press conferences somehow every week, even though the owners usually don't do that. You realize the Cowboys, on top of everything else, not terribly interesting. Like, they were interesting in the 90s. It's not just winning championships, but holy shit, they were getting in a ton of trouble.
Yeah.
They had personalities who were stars. Go ahead.
Ezekiel Elliott had some problems, right? Like, I don't know what we're doing here.
I'm just
How
saying
much shit are you getting into? You guys aren't even getting into shit.
They're not interesting. The Cowboys,
I disagree.
I've been fascinated by our over coverage of a team that I don't think is either that good or that interesting.
But it's working for them because we're still covering them.
I mean,
they haven't been like, to Jerry Jones's credit, which is a weird thing. Like, he's somehow made this a brand that everybody's talking about, whether they're good, whether they're not, whether they're interesting, whether they're not. They're still on the list of everybody's top teams. They're still in prime time, like every other week. Everyone's still talking about the Cowboys. It doesn't seem to matter.
It's like they're almost good enough just to be relevant right on the surface.
And not only that, but also, I mean, they have a massive national fan base, right?
Yes.
I flew to Los Angeles a week ago.
So do the Steelers, though.
No, not like this.
Not like this,
Let
though.
me put it to you like this, Dan. First of all, they were the first pro sports team to have content behind a paywall on Cowboys.com. You want the inside stuff? Pay, and they got crazy money off of it because all of these people all across the country were willing to pay money to get like some glorified PR puff pieces from behind the paywall about the team. The other thing is I flew to LA last week, and when I landed, I was like, what's going on? And I realized it's because the Cowboys were playing the Rams. All the hotels in LA were booked. It was crazy, and there was traffic everywhere. And everywhere I looked, there was people with Cowboys jerseys on. And this is in the town that won the Super Bowl last year, a major metropolis. But like,
Yeah, but that's unfair to call LA a football town compared to Dallas.
But his point is, those fans travel. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Buffalo's
More than
fans
any other
travel
football team.
as well. Is that right? You
More than
think-
more than any
Is that a
football
true thing? You might be right about that. Is that true? What he's saying, that if the Dallas Cowboys are playing in your town, they are more of a national team than all the other teams.
If they're good,
I
yes.
think so.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
And also, Micah Parsons is going to win NFL Defensive Player of the Year. They had a cornerback who just led the league in interceptions. Dak Prescott is
Trayvon Diggs,
an elite quarterback. I mean, they have stars. They have an interest level, I think, beyond the fact that they're America's team on fumes.
I mean, Greg, look, I am not gonna argue with you that Micah Parsons is a great football player.
Right.
But when you're coming at me with Diggs and Parsons as stars, get out of here. Like, they're football players who are very good, but Dak Prescott is only a star because he plays for that team. Like, that team does not have stars anywhere but on its helmet.
Okay, if you get past Aaron Donald, everybody's greatest defensive player, the Cowboys have a couple of the ones who are right up there.
Micah Parsons he's a star, Dan.
Look, man, you think he walks into most rooms, people know what Micah Parsons looks like?
He's young. He's in like his
He's
second
great
year.
Well, he doesn't get to be a star then. Like, that's not how stars are made. He's great at football. That does not make you a star.
You don't think Micah Parsons is a star in the NFL?
I think he's excellent at football.
Okay.
Greg, what he's saying is, if Micah Parsons walks down the block
You
here,
wouldn't recognize
Yeah.
him. If he walked in here right now, you would not know who that is.
That's not true. I happen to know what he looks like. To your point, he's a baby in the league still. That's part of what makes him great, is that he's this good at age 22.
that's his point. He's like, he's great. He's not a star. To be a star, people have to know who you are. That's Dan's point. He's not talking about he's not a star caliber player. Right. He is a star caliber player, but stardom brings with it like a commercial, baby. How about that?
This is sports radio, man. Would you know Micah Parsons if he sat in this room?
This is the power of the Cowboys and Stephen A, where we were going over Stephen A's list to talk about the Jets, and immediately now we're 20 minutes in and we're arguing whether or not Micah Parsons is a star.
Yeah.
That's right.